This is Bob Fitrakis in the studio with Dan Dougan on the other side of the news.
Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah.
We're streaming live on the Free Press Network and WGRN.org, and on the radio, and at WGRN LPFM 94.1 and WCRS LPFM 92.7 and 98.3. How about that, Mr. Dougan?
Man, we're getting around, but not as much as Rudy.
But
I'll
as they
tell you
used
what.
to sing, Dougan gets around.
Rudy.
The Beach Boys sang about it.
Really? I missed that one. Oh, I'll be darned.
All
Anyway,
over Newark, one side of town to the other.
and then some. I've been a
Been
number
around.
of places, but again, I haven't been around as much as Rudy. You know, Trump's lawyer. He gets around. That guy gets around.
Giuliani.
Mr. Yes, America's mayor. And in the meantime, we have a guest, right, Bob?
Yeah, and Trane got around lately, out there making some history and traveling the country.
Trane being Trane DePriest,
Yeah.
who is
Howdy,
As I
everybody.
always said, Trane DePriest, and the church will follow.
there you go.
So I apologize to everybody who's watching and or listening, because this is finally an opportunity for me to take ownership of the fact that oftentimes this show is just completely beleaguered with technical problems.
No.
That's me. So make
Train-
sure to
yes.
send your hate mail to Trane at somewhere else.
Trane is an
.com.
engineer, actually.
Right? Shouldn't it be an engineer? Anyway, so yeah, Bob, I'm excited to be a guest, to be finally sitting on this side of the camera. That's unique.
That's for sure.
Crazy, and not be just sitting here fixing the camera or the lights.
And I'm glad that this
So-
time you can be the victim of some of the
Yeah.
gaffes and hiccups.
and
and
I'm
have
looking
to
forward to
deal
it.
with, Dr. Bob.
I've learned to deal with Dr. Bob.
And, page 20, the Trane DePriest article in this month's Free Press.
Aha.
Oh, and let me go back quickly, right there.
There you go.
Page
If
20.
you're on the radio, you won't see this.
And my protege has graphics that she can go to as well.
Wow.
But yeah, this article has been an incredible experience for me. Usually as a graphic designer, I just get to make pretty graphics. But now I get to go down and participate in chronicling what is absolutely a turning point in history. And there's a fantastic article that I wrote for the Free Press. So if you visit columbusfreepress.org and
Or pick one up from the newsstand.
yeah, actually, we would love that.
When the black box beast ate our democracy.
Yeah, I was trying to
Wow.
tie into Halloween, guys. So I'm sorry I took
No, it's okay.
some
It's
creative
coming.
license with that.
That's
But
I'm
it
spooked.
really is. It
Trust
really
me,
is
I'm
something to be
spooked.
afraid of.
Absolutely.
I had no
should
idea.
all
Like
be.
most Americans, I just had this. I had resigned myself to believing that voting just didn't matter, and that so I vote, big deal, I get a sticker. What really is happening? But I was enraged to learn that there are, as I put in the article, I'm quoting myself, Machiavellian moves being made. Scale, and they're doing it by pushing these these voting machines that are getting between the voter and their vote. They are ballot marking devices being pawned by their sales reps as just a newfangled modern way for. Sorry, I'm getting into the weeds, but it's important. Is that they are removing the voting, and it's not the actual ballot itself. they encode your choices in barcode at the top of this receipt, and then you're supposed to, in good faith, believe that this barcode, in fact, carries the will of the people. But
It's the mark of the beast. Go ahead.
Wow.
perfect.
Sorry.
It could be. All I know is
No, the
Well,
barcode itself is what you get given?
yeah.
What
well,
could be better?
But
Well, because of the reaction to the hanging chads, this government invested money into in new policies, into putting touch screens and modern technology in between the voter and their vote. And in the case of the handicap, all for that, but trying to make sure that every voter has this layer between their vote and their intention, it's just not right. As a matter of fact,
Trust the machines, Trane.
no.
The machine will
I'm
mark
an
your
AR
ballot
designer,
for
augmented
you.
reality. I am all about
It's your fault.
technology.
There will be a barcode there,
just
Trane.
kidding.
Yeah. So what we discovered is that, when when you go to the grocery store, you trust that can of soup. That thing's had a barcode on it for 50 years. You trust that, right? No, because when I take that barcode out to another city or to another scanning machine, it's a different price. And that's our point, is that just because there's a barcode, does not mean that you can trust that that barcode is going to relay the exact same information from machine to machine. And there's so many things. There's a effort where transmitted disease, and I'm paraphrasing what was said in the documentary, an Emmy Award nominated documentary that every American should see, called Fraction Magic. Because just reveals through Beverly Harris's work and Benny J. Smith's discovery of this software that is running across the majority of the voting systems, and it has gone from one machine to the next, iteration after iteration, company after company, and it is it's mind-boggling to see it in effect, actually working as it was demonstrated for me.
And thank God it's
So can you just-
proprietary and secret, and we don't even know if they're
Okay.
using the fraction.
Right.
So you guys understand it. I don't. So could you
I
maybe
will
explain how
I will
this
try.
fraction
Yes.
For Hillary Clinton counted as 9/10 of a vote.
Possibly.
Counted as
Right.
0.73 of a
Okay.
vote.
Or how about
Shave a
fifth,
10.
5/3? Yeah, or 3/5. Yeah, it's
Right.
Nothing's wrong with shaving a tenth. For
Okay.
that.
so
Right.
how it was.
You-
Let me layman terms it. Just here's what happened.
Yeah,
It
please.
was demonstrated
I am a
in
layman.
front of me. The Benny J. Smith, a
Lay it out.
financial data analyst who also happens to be an elections commissioner in Tennessee, was able to reverse engineer voter data. He was able to demonstrate that, and the documentary has the visuals. I lack those.
Okay.
But he was able to demonstrate that he could sway any vote by fairly large margins, the margins necessary to ensure that it was not needing to be recounted, right? But it was done through fractions. It was done through weighting certain districts. And we've seen gerrymandering at the most racist of scales
Right.
there in North Carolina. The
Sure.
week that I arrived,
Right.
the courts were throwing out the I took a fantastic tour of the Institute for international civil rights that's housed in the original Woolworth. It like ripples in a river. It just spread out, and these nonviolent acts of dissent. This drama 2 weeks, and I don't want to give it away, but there's some really dramatic results that you have to check out.
All right, we'd never give it away at 4.1 and WCRS 92.7 and 98.3, Mr. Dougan.
That's right, yes. Our sister station. We're the Green Renaissance. What is CRS's slogan?
I always thought it was community radio station.
Cool, radical,
Non-gender,
scatologica.
more gender binary. So they
There.
don't like that
All right.
sister thing.
I kept referring to them as
sit
brother and
corrected.
sister stations, but then I
Yeah.
got yelled at Comfest
Wow.
about that.
Uh-huh.
So I won't be referring.
I've been yelled at Comfest before.
So
Quite a few
yeah, that's
times.
what I was doing in North Carolina. We want to start with local stuff.
We could. What do we got locally?
Well, I thought maybe
Oh.
Your event.
we were going to discuss the anonymous letters, perhaps.
Oh, I think we were
Perhaps,
going to
yes.
first begin with those letters.
Okie doke.
How? Explain to me exactly what happened, and for our audience, was it just some anonymous letters, or were they letters from staff?
Well, there were
What's the
14
source?
letters that were anonymous that came from police officers.
Well, some in the
Some black,
articles say.
some Hispanic, and some of them actually, as you say, reference.
I was going to say some in the articles say from a concerned officer, and others say anonymous. I was wondering what the difference was there.
Well, there was 14 of these letters, so they're all individuals, and many of them will actually refer to themselves. I'm
Okay.
black officer.
Okay. All
But
right.
there were 14 separate letters that were leaked to the free press, all of them alleging racial bias in the Columbus Police Department.
Right.
And this is a big story. I mean, not only is it the cover article for this month, Free Press, but it's been picked up by ABC News
And you get a feel,
Yeah.
any time there's a...
We're known out
it's
there
a
now.
Separate,
Yeah.
It's a separate letter. For example, in this times, the good old boy system seems to play out with African American officers being disciplined at a much higher rate when compared to Caucasian officers. So that's an anonymous police officer. Another concerned officer says unfair treatment is the issue that this department suffers from the most. White officers routinely get lesser discipline, if any at all, than black officers. And that was another concerned officer. Here's an anonymous officer. I have witnessed female supervisors treated disrespectably by subordinates and then get no support from their supervisors.
Okay.
So, a little sexism. Another anonymous officer.
A little sexism,
I
a
am
little racism.
also aware of an African
Columbus
American
Police.
officer who contacted the Fraternal Order of Police, that being the police union, regarding a concern with the chain of command. I witnessed that officer sergeant informed them that the commander in their chain of command stated that if anyone were to contact the FOP on behalf of that officer, the discipline absolutely.
Wow.
On the Columbus Division of Police, as a black officer, you are labeled as lazy. If you are not aggressive, proactive in areas of the city where there's a black population or a large population of blacks, you're considered lazy. If if you're not being aggressive
Wow.
with a little black cop on black community interaction.
Bob, you've done a lot of work on racism in this community, particular in Ohio in general. But it seems to me that this kind of behavior by the Columbus police just keeps coming up and being exposed. It's almost every month there's something.
Right. The FBI came to have a look at it.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, it's no wonder that it's making national news because it's drawing nationwide attention. So that's not a good thing for Columbus to be known for.
Solutions, Bob? I mean,
Yeah.
you started
Well, you
the
gotta
top.
Sure, who you hire, but more than that is the culture. I mean, part of the problem now is that department with well over a quarter of the population's black, and most of these white police officers get away from their job. They live out in the surrounding rural
Right.
counties where often they come in and it's like they're an occupational army, right?
Right,
They're here
right.
occupying the city and then retreating on weekends and at night. So, I mean, you've actually got to get police that live in the city, know the neighborhood, understand the culture, and
Are connected.
yeah,
to the
connected
neighbors.
to the community that understand, who a few bad people are, but understand the vast majority of people there are there, and they want community policing. They want problems
And
resolved.
they're not a threat to every officer.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's an occupying force, particularly the white officers. Every black is perceived as a potential threat.
Right.
As opposed to actually when they used to walk a beat or police a certain neighborhood.
Right.
You don't know who's good, who's bad, and you don't really care. You're going to treat them all the same often with aggression and
But
disrespect.
aren't there some cities in this country that are passing
yeah,
ordinances
there-
that require the police to live in the community?
Yeah, no, there are, and there's
Never,
some
sure.
that actually want police officers that have college degrees and understand the Constitution.
Oh, go on.
I mean, we set the standard
That's asking
very
a lot.
low in Columbus. All you need is a GED. You don't need any classes on constitutional law at, say, the community college where I teach,
Yeah.
or elsewhere, because even though you've sworn, to protect and defend that Constitution,
Right.
how can you do it if you don't even know what's in it?
Yeah. So, wow.
And
Locally,
protect, defend,
it's
and
a lot of
mace
bad
is not
news.
in the Constitution.
A lot of bad news locally. How about let's widen the scope? How about nationwide? Is it a little bit better there?
Well, the commander-in-chief continues to tweet away.
Oh, boy.
And as a matter of fact,
What did
the
he
most
say
recent
now?
thing I heard was that he wants China to investigate the Bidens as well as, he said, the Ukrainians. It took him a moment
Hi, I've
to remember who he'd already been lying about. And
Wow.
I started a trade war for no reason with China,
yeah,
and now I want them to spy for me.
right. Do him a favor.
Wow.
And I
This-
think Trane made this point earlier that it's like everyone works for him. It's like, hi, I'm the rich billionaire.
Yeah.
Hey, you Chinese, I want a black bag spy job.
Well, I mean, they are printing his hats and his banners. So he probably just
ties.
thinks, and his ties too. It's probably
Well,
just
they're printing our flags using probably some political
Yes.
prisoner.
Yeah.
This
So-
thing's sacred. It was made
so
by
Trump
well-known
is-
political prisoner.
Trump is tweeting more crazy stuff. I really didn't think it could get any crazier than his latest tweet about filling the Rio Grande with more poisonous snakes.
Oh, yeah, that was a really good one.
I thought he's so on the verge of the meme of Dr. Evil and asking for the snakes to have
Oh, my God.
freaking lasers on their heads.
Yeah.
That would be,
Alligators and
if you
snakes.
could just go there.
Just throw them in the moat.
Right.
That's,
Well, I think what
some
his
say
plan
a
is-
wall is medieval.
I think his
once
plan
stated.
is not Space Force, it's Snake Force.
Ah,
That's what
yeah.
he's moving towards.
Snake Force.
Snake
yes.
Force.
They'll have
Yes.
rockets.
Slithering at
right.
unprecedented
Yeah.
speeds.
You know, you can
Yeah.
you can fry an egg on that wall. By the way, he pointed that out too. So snake eggs, maybe, you can fry on the wall. It just gets more and more ridiculous. And here we sit in our.
Seals
He's
and
gotta be doing
snakes swimming together to keep back the hordes.
He's got to be doing this on purpose, just so that we will not pay attention to the would-be potential replacements. What's going on in the Democratic circle? Is there a debate coming? Did I hear it's happening here?
Otterbein.
Otterbein. There you go.
What's the date on that? It's coming up soon in October.
I don't know,
That would
but
be great. So,
I believe the end of the show is coming up soon.
Oh, yeah.
And before we get there, I just wanted to remind people
One more
of the second Saturday Salon Free Press
yes.
In
at
the French
1021
tradition
East
of
Broad
Salon.
Street. And there will be progressive friends having food, drink, and maybe some music. The speakers this time will be Dr. Bridget Williams, medical marijuana, and Emil Ramash of the Terrasana Medical Marijuana Dispensary. So, and also the Free Press Annual Awards event, which will be Tuesday, November 4th at the Ace of Cups, 2619 North High Street, parking right on the side. And Donna McGavero will be the headline act.
All right. And there's an event, oh yes, capitalism versus socialism. This one actually costs a little money, I think $5.
And I would
you're
argue
a
that the two are
student
not necessarily mutually
elderly.
exclusive, but it might
Well,
be a good discussion.
Okay, and I'll be arguing the socialist side.
Oh, good. You
Who's-
will.
Who's arguing the
Who's the capitalist?
Rhea.
Right there at the bottom, you can see it.
That was
Keep going.
Rhea.
Stop.
Hedderman. Rhea Hedderman. From
I'm
the
sorry?
Director of Economic
Yeah,
Research
Rhea
Center.
Hedderman.
Okay.
We can read. All right.
A little
Excellent.
Cardellioism.
Can you give us a little preview?
In Srpsko Hrvatski. Actually, it's market socialism.
Wow.
Made famous
Market socialism.
by worker self-management, as you would know it.
I have got to take your class because I just assumed that socialism and capitalism were diametrically opposed, but
No,
apparently
no.
there are
Market
fantastic
socialism.
Thank you.
hybrids.
The workers own the factory, and they hire the management, and the management works, and they
I like the sound of that.
compete against each other. But there's a solidarity fund, and when someone goes out of business, you provide capital for them to get
Oh,
back in
wow.
the game. It
Yeah.
actually works better than capitalism.
Better ideas.
Yes.
Maybe you should run for office, Bob.
Right
oh,
here.
that's
Oh.
right.
About these things on the other side of the news here on WGRN. Our guest this week, Trane DePriest, who is our engineer as well. I'm glad we got him on camera. And thanks a whole lot.
Last
Thanks,
time,
Dr.
I
Bob.
promise.
All right, thanks, Mr. Dougan and Trane DePriest.
Thanks,
Do
guys.
that. Adios.
Okay, now Suzanne, you can just go fade to black.
Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh,